What is up, you guys? It is your boy Keeper Real. I hope you guys are having a phenomenal Monday. Now, if you did not hear about the Lord of the Rings Gollum, you can assure yourself that your boy Keeper Real is about to drop that information on you. This was one of the first games I talked about when I started talking about video games on my channel. And I was talking about this game because it is garbage. It is one of the worst games released in such a long time. It is just not in a state that it should have ever hit the market. It's a fully priced game with deluxe editions. It was $70 and the DLC made absolutely no sense with lore compendiums that should have been in there. But that's a story for another day. I'll leave a link down below to my original video where I cover all that information. But let's get into the juice. So the Lord of the Rings Gollum is currently sitting at a 38% with critic reviews on Metacritic for the PC, and then for user reviews, it's sitting at a 1.2, meaning that it's overwhelmingly disliked. Now we can go to the PS5 and we'll see that it's about the same on the user review, and the critic scores are just as bad. 34 on PlayStation 5. If we go to the Series X, same thing. 34 unfavorable. No, 43 unfavorable. And then we go to the user reviews, 1.2. So it's a 1.2 on pretty much everything. But let's read some of those reviews. I want to go down to the worst one because actually, you know what? Let's stay right in between so there's really no bias. The Lord of the Rings Gollum is littered with technical and gameplay issues that dampen the fact that there's a great story at its heart. All right. The Lord of the Rings Gollum was a bad idea on paper, and it's even worse game now that we can play it with a dull and boring plot. So these don't really play off of each other, and it's all bias anyway. So that's not really to hammer down any point. I'm just saying that the game is just not the game that we were expecting. When you think Gollum, you think Frodo. You think about that journey to Mount Doom and him having the precious, but the game isn't even about the ring. It's about Gollum. But Gollum wouldn't be Gollum if he had never ran into the ring. You know what I'm saying? The game is just such a mess, such a story mess, such a graphic mess, a gameplay mess. So on Steam, it's sitting very low. At its peak was 758 players. 24-hour peak is 7, and these poor two people are playing through this game. They're probably trying to platinum and get all the trophies. But man, props to you for putting up with this garbage. I hope that you don't die in the process of playing this game of boredom. So let's take a look at some of the glitches. So you guys understand that it's not just me talking, it's a very common theme. This game is littered with glitches and things that just prevent the story to continue with the game. I just don't understand what they were going for by releasing this. Maybe a quick crash. It was just a cash grab. Honestly, I can say truly this was just a cash grab from Datalac trying to capitalize on Lord of the Rings fans' hype. It's just truly what it is. There's no other way around it. That's all they wanted to do. So if we look right here, right, what? And then when he goes back again, look what happens. Can't even complete the mission because it just bugs out and right, open sesame. And look at that man's Gollum's face. This is what I'm saying. How can you release a game with so many fans that you guys can provide a quality product and you release a Gollum that looks like this? Come on, dude. There's just look at this. All right, look at that. I guess the spider already clapped him. So there's really nothing that goes on in this game that screams, "Hey, this is quality content. This is something that should cost $70." I'm just still baffled by the fact that it was $70 to begin with. Here's another glitch. So this guy right here, he played a little bit through the story and he's just running to a point where there's basically an invisible wall preventing him from continuing the story. And what's even crazier about this is that this was not something that was rare. It was complete. People were being completely stopped from completing the game over and over again to the point where so many people had to restart the game. Most people refunded the game. A lot of people just skipped out on this game because of the glitches I just shown you. So Gollum had a budget of around 16 million, which is this big. When you compare it to the gaming market right now, it's very hard to make a quality product with that type of budget because it basically means it's going to be a very minimal effort, and that is exactly what we got. We got a minimal effort with Gollum, Gollum, Gollum. Oh my gosh, I just can't believe that with the Lord of the Rings stories and books, you just decide to make something that is so unrelated and undesirable that you make an entire studio close just because you were disconnected from everybody that you should have been connected with. So after that abysmal launch, essentially Data got shut down. There was just too big of a loss. I mean, 758 peak players. There's probably even less on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles, leading to essentially probably a 90% loss in the development of the game. Now, that may not seem like a lot because they spent relatively small amounts, but when you make a game and you're probably trying to pay people at the same time and it launches in this state, doesn't sell that much, and this is the game you're hoping that brings you in some quick cash so you can produce another one, you essentially lose the battle. So after this abysmal launch, Datalac was like, "Hey, we're gonna actually make another game, another Lord of the Rings game, but now they can't because they shut down because they couldn't make enough dough." So that's pretty much the summary of what was going on with Lord of the Rings Gollum. But to add add to the misery, the Lord of the Rings Gollum apology was allegedly written using ChatGPT without developers' input. Now, there have been reports a former Datalac employee basically said, they didn't even do anything for this apology. The apology was written. The apology was written by ChatGPT. That means that that stupid apology that we got on Twitter about Gollum being an abysmal game and they were hoping to patch it was essentially even worse than we thought it was because they didn't even actually care. There was going to be no update. There was going to be no content. They just wanted to push it out and just keep it. Just basically cash grab. So ChatGPT is something that can be capitalized for good, but not when you're on a studio at the brink of close and now closed and don't make any video games because of how bad you release a game, and then it comes out a few months later, hey, we used an AI to write this apology, so we really didn't put any effort into this game at all whatsoever. I wouldn't be surprised if this game was made by an AI. The fact that every choice feels so robotic, every piece of game feels robotic, it feels terrible. It's just a terrible experience overall. And I just wanted to come to you guys because over the past few years, we have been getting so many apologies from these stupid gaming companies. Volition, closed. Look at that. Datalac, closed. Don't make no games. Volition, don't make no games. Cyberpunk, even when it launched, here's an apology letter to tell you guys that we love you guys and we're going to support the game. 90% of these are probably written by AI just to sound more formal, but most of these companies don't care. They're going to release an apology, tell you, hey, we're going to keep updating the game and never touch it again, which is basically what happened to Gollum. I'm sure they closed down the studio so they weren't facing any more backlash because nobody wanted to play this piece of garbage. Now, Cyberpunk, I'm sorry that I mentioned it because I do believe Phantom Liberty is a great update, and they did keep their promise from their apology long ago. It's been 3 years and they finally did this, but games like this, they're not going to get 3 years worth of updates. They're going to get maybe a month patch, and then that's it. So people think that something's going to happen, but this game isn't even worth it. Don't spend your money on this game. Don't trust Datalac if they're going to come out here and apologize. Don't trust an apology. Trust your instincts. If you refund a game, don't buy it again because they say, oh, we're going to update it. No, you see what effort they put in. Look, it's the same thing with Call of Duty, etc. They always apologize and tell us that they're working to make things better for us, but do they ever? Not really. With all that being said, guys, leave a like and subscribe. I hope you guys have a phenomenal Monday. And remember, keep it real.